Say bye.
Bye bye, love you.
Time to go to Wales.
No.
Well, I've made it to Conway and here's the station. Well, I've made it to Betsy Code, or however you say it. Man, that was much harder than I expected it to be. I've also got a cold, which is travelling down into my lungs currently. Man, there was some very, very steep climbs on that. Pouring rain on the top of the mountain. Cows. But such incredibly varied terrain. Valleys, huge mountains, waterfalls, reservoirs, rivers, granite slabs, little towns. What an amazing place. Oh, I'm absolutely exhausted. This is incredible. Thank you, Callie. So this is the bedroom. This is my bed. Looks like there's someone here, up there, and up there. Now I snore. I'm wondering if they snore. It's 9 o'clock. I think I'm going to go to bed. That was a fun day. I think I've sprained my ankle though. I've taken some ibuprofen. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Night night. Okay, morning of day 2 in Betesa Coed, the charming Betesa Coed. It's really lovely here. I've just got some stuff from the bakery, so I've got a rocky road and a pistachio caramel slice. I've got leftover pizza in here from the Vagabond Bunkhouse. They texted me on the ride yesterday and asked if I wanted a pizza, which they made for me and boxed up because I arrived so late. So when I got in last night, I had a fresh pizza waiting for me, which was amazing. There's something about someone taking care of you when you're completely and utterly physically and mentally done that is very heartwarming. So that was lovely. I really like this place. It's charming, and there's a lot of I don't know what they are, Victorian flourishes on the fronts of the buildings. It's raining now. Yeah, so today I'm heading down to a name I can't pronounce, and it's 30 miles with 3,700 foot of climbing, I think. My ankle was hurting a lot when I got into the bunkhouse last night, but it's okay this morning. And having about 12 hours in bed really sorted me out. 9:30, well, 9 to 11 hours, whatever. Bike's doing well. I had to tighten this up yesterday. It was bouncing around on the very rough fast section yesterday. Loosen one of these screws because of the weight of this litre of water. So that's tightened up. A few shifting problems, but it's a brand new chain, so it's not the chain. Apart from that, everything's working really well. Suspension seat post is a dream. Front suspension is fantastic. Yeah. All right, let's get going. So day 2, I've made it from Betws-y-Coed to Festiniog, I think it's called. It rained for maybe 70% of the day, so I got very wet, and there was a headwind for most of the day. One of the big climbs at the end took me 50 minutes in first gear with a headwind. But overall it was easing yesterday because I was still ill yesterday. I had a temperature, so today definitely was easier. It's about 4 o'clock. I'm staying in the it's called the Gwesti, what is it, the Gwesti Penguin or something. I don't know how to say any of these Welsh names, and it's a pub's rammed Sunday afternoon. It's a very small village, this, with really incredible views, really. The weather's a lot nicer than it was 2 hours ago. I had to do a quick update because the light has got so much better later in the day, and this view here is just epic. I've been sat here for an hour and a half listening to the Lord of the Rings audiobook, enjoying it immensely.
After that, it would not be difficult to discover his country once Gollum came out.
So, morning of day 3, I slept pretty well, 10.5 hours in bed, pretty much all of that sleep. Room was fine, small, but I had my own shower and kettle, reasonably comfy bed. I think the weather's looking much better today. I coughed up a load of yellow gunge this morning, so my illness is on the way out, but still there. They don't do breakfast or dinner here at the moment, so I had scampi fries, crisps and peanuts for dinner, and I'm going to ride to a cafe an hour away that's on the route and have a full English.
such a long walk without having them.
Thinking it was a piece of rubbish.
Thank you so much. I may see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, she's updated me, but that makes sense. It's been in.
So that's day 3 over with. I'm at my little camping pod with a lovely view of the mountains. It's very beautiful and remote and quiet here. I haven't seen a single person since I pulled up. There's just a key left in the door. And right at the corner of the campsite, and there's no people. So today was superb. Perfect weather, scattered fluffy clouds, bright sun, light breeze, about 18-20 degrees. My left ankle, I can't walk on it without limping, but it doesn't hurt when I ride, weirdly. Bike behaved very well today, nothing went wrong. The pub I stayed in last night, so they had no kitchen, so I didn't have dinner. They didn't do breakfast. The plan was to ride an hour to a visitor centre by the lake and have a full English. That was closed until Wednesday, so I couldn't go there. The next plan was to go to the next village, an hour and a half on from there. I missed the turning and ended up going up the mountain, so I didn't have lunch, so I had to wait right till the end of the ride. But I had enough flapjacks to keep me going, so then I stopped at the cafe in how do you say the name? Dolagnu? Oh god. Dolgellau. I had a full English at 3:15 in that cafe, which was excellent, and a pot of tea. Really, really nice cafe, and I think I might go there for breakfast tomorrow morning. And they also do amazing cakes, so I could have a full English there and get a couple of cakes for the ride to Machynlleth tomorrow. I'm having a fantastic time. I really, really love doing this. I love it. I love it. I don't really want it to end. It's so fun. And today the whole of today I listened to the Fellowship of the Ring audiobook on my phone, read by Andy Serkis. So that's been great, and I'm going to continue to listen to that now and just look at the mountain and chill until I go to bed at about 9 o'clock. See you tomorrow. Well, it's morning, and that was a pretty crazy night. There was, I'll call it a storm. I don't know whether it's just because the pod has quite thin walls or whatever, but it sounded it sounded like a hurricane last night. It was pouring rain and the wind was blowing very strong and shaking the whole pod, and I was awake for hours trying to sort of plan today, thinking if this rain keeps up, how am I going to get to Buckuncliffe not on the mountain, because it's going to be hellish and dangerous. And then by the morning it had stopped, and I've checked the weather and I should be fine if I go now. Yeah, I'm really glad I wasn't under a tarp somewhere, because that would have been horrendous last night. North Wales, the weather seems to be far more chaotic, so very glad I had the pod. So ready to go, let's go and get some breakfast. that's it. I'm on the train home. I'm in Machynlleth, heading for Birmingham New Street. Got the bike stowed away. Yeah, that was a really, really wonderful trip. It was epic. It had all the weather, rain, wind, sun, really varied terrain, incredibly beautiful, probably the prettiest ride I've ever done. North Wales is just incredible, and I'm tired. I'm not very sleepy, but my body is worn out. 130 miles or so, and I've just had some cake in a cafe and my ankle hurts. I'm limping a bit, and I'm gonna listen to Lord of the Rings for 5 hours on the way home.